to start this video off by saying that I've got a lot of nerves running through me as, you know, I'm sitting here in line getting ready to go out on track for the first time. I haven't driven this car in almost a year and a half. Lauren and I have just spent the last like 3-4 months of our lives putting our heart and soul into getting our car and her car ready and looking good for this event. I got a new engine build, this new LS3 that's in here. I've really only done self-tuning, kind of just in my area, you know, driving on the streets, but I haven't really drifted or really honestly spun the tires. So this is the first time I really got to let it sing. And it was a cool moment for me, but it had a lot of nerves too. So Lauren's actually pulled off and is waiting for me because this is my first time driving the track and hers as well. So, you know, I personally felt more comfortable knowing that she's following me because I know she's a really good driver and she's not going to run into me. And I think she felt good just following me first because she didn't know how she was going to be behind me either. So it worked out. So immediately the first thing I realized is that the car does not have a lot of grip. I'm actually on 235s in this run because I wanted to shake down the car on like a scrap set just to make sure everything was good. The tune was also doing some weird stuff, which is why I revved it up right there. I just want to freeze in this moment because Lauren has been working, you know, like I said, just as hard on her car as I have. And it was so cool to be behind her and see her doing like really well her second lap out, and just the car looking awesome and making a ton of smoke, because I know for years she's been wanting to make more smoke. And like seeing this, like it was coming off of, it was like she had so much smoke it was coming out of the middle of the car. Like it looked awesome. So at this point, I've realized that my car's got some tune issues. It's breaking up quite a bit in a few of the runs I did. So I asked our buddy Brian Ford if he could hold my laptop while I did the data log run. It's a pretty ugly run, but it was still really good because after this run, I was able to go over to the drag strip, do a couple pulls, get the car tuned, and that issue was no longer present the rest of the weekend. So we finally got the car running good. It's still Friday, so we're still practice. This was one halfway decent tandem run that I had with somebody. Once I got the tune figured out, once I got my power steering fluid figured out, once the majority of the issues were taken care of, this is a run that we put down. Shameless plug, my wife has a clothing and accessory brand called Hale and Crate. They sell some really cool stuff, so feel free to check them out. Link will be in the description of this video. Alright, now back to the video. So this is day 2, this is qualifying day. Obviously it's a little wet outside. It had just rained overnight and it was like misting this morning while we're going out for qualifying practice, or practice right before qualifying. I pull up to the line and Taylor Ray's sitting out there. And I just talked with him at Friday night, just kind of asking him some questions about LS3 stuff because I was having some PCV problems. Talked to him about just about some camera stuff for doing YouTube videos like this. Honestly, we hit it off pretty good. He's a really cool guy. So he asked me some questions about the Lincoln. I walked him over, showed him the cars, Lauren and mine, and he seemed to like the builds. So cool guy, and I was pretty excited to have him follow. So here's a video of my lead run. Car been running good. Track is still really wet, which I was kind of hopeful for. I just didn't want it to go from like wet and then be partially dry because it's really hard to predict what's going to happen on the track. So I was honestly happy that it stayed wet, and this is my qualifying run. I ended up getting an 82 for this run. Watch it and see what you guys think.
From Indianapolis, Indiana.
So I didn't do very many practice runs after qualifying for top 64. I don't remember why. I think we only had an hour, and I might have done like 1 or 2 runs, and I was feeling good about the car, good about the track. I got paired against my buddy Alex Zier in his 4-door IS, and I was pretty excited for this battle. So check it out.
Steve Kelly in the pit position. He's making a nice run out there on the outer side. Bring it around nice and tight on here. Taking both of them. Either one of them taking the game over. Both bring it the point there. He's only first on one. First on the outer zone. Makes a huge drop. Not sure what happened there. Just
So honestly, I wasn't really happy about my follow run in this battle. I felt like I was pretty sloppy. He was definitely faster than me, so I was doing a lot to try and keep up. But I guess the judges deemed that he had a few mistakes in his lead run, and because of that, and our proximities were fairly similar, chase, they gave us a one more time. But unfortunately, I had started like dumping oil out on the track when they were waiting to make the call for the one more time. So I basically, needed the time to work on my car, and I think Alex needed to change tires. So we both took off back to the pits when they said one more time, while they ran a battle in between ours. And I immediately jacked the car up, had a bunch of help from friends and family. We all started like cleaning up oil, figuring out what was going on. I really wasn't able to make any changes to the car. Like, I wasn't able to fix the issue, but I was able to clean it up enough and make sure that it wasn't like catastrophic. So we were able to go out. Basically took us like, I don't know, maybe 7-8 minutes. And once we got the car back on the ground, I looked over because our pits are across from each other, and I saw that Alex Zier was still working on his car. And I gave him a thumbs up. He gave me a thumbs up. We're like, okay, we're both ready to go back out. Because I think in both of our cases, we would have waited for the other guy to go back out because we wanted to have a good battle. We wanted to run it clean and win, and win the right way. So he gave me a thumbs up. I gave him a thumbs up. I rolled out back to grid, and I'm sitting on the line, and I hear over the loudspeaker, Ryan goes, the announcer goes, Alex Zierr has called a 5-minute timeout. And I'm thinking to myself, man, he just gave me a thumbs up. If he called a 5-minute, then that means something's probably not good. So kind of in my head, I was already like, I don't know if he's going to make it back out, because we already had quite a bit of time, and now he's calling a 5-minute. So I sat there, and sure enough, they say Stu Kelly's going to run a bye run. The guy comes over to me and says, hey man, you're doing a bye run, you know, all you gotta do is finish this run and you win the battle. And I was just kind of like, man, that's not really how I wanted to go out. And I knew I still had an issue I had to fix, so part of me was kind of relieved, but also part of me was like, I really wanted to have the battle again. So here is my bye run.
Against Jonathan Hurst, followed him first. He was a little, I think everybody was a little slow off the line depending on how much power they had. So I tried to get the jump on him, and even still he kind of took off, and I tried to catch up to him as much as I could, but I had a lot of corrections in the follow, and then when I led, I just tried to throw down the hardest run that I could. And I had some corrections which caused him to get really close to me, and people thought that he hit me, but I was like, no, he didn't hit me. He was very close though. And I completed the run, and still with a little bit of corrections, but I just tried to do the best I could and with the power I had. So I just tried to keep up with 800 horsepower or whatever it is.
Yay. Did you have fun?
I did have fun. I was super nervous when I started.
Where'd you qualify? 53rd?
55th.
55th?
Yeah.
55th.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah, I had a lot of nerves. I was very nervous. But I felt like still like calm. Like I felt like I just needed to trust myself that I needed to do the things I needed to do, so
Yay.
Yeah.
I qualified 23rd with an 85. Pretty decent qualifying run. It was wet. I don't like driving in the wet very much, so.
Yeah. But my car actually drove really well in the wet.
Mine did too. It's sketchy to me. I like grip. I like feeling the car like lunging forward and stuff, because then I know like I can lunge away from things I don't want to hit. Yeah, I never ran these accelerators that I was running today. And I never got to run them in the dry, so I ran them in the wet in qualifying, and then had no idea what tire pressure to run them in the dry. Ended up getting paired against my buddy Alex Zierr in his 2K powered IS, pretty sick car. Fast car also, so I was like, you know, asking around trying to figure out what tire pressures I should set the accelerators at for dry running, and tried 20, which was a little low. It hooked pretty hard. I still put a run together, it just wasn't my cleanest lead run. Came back, did a pretty decent follow run, kind of got caught up on some transitions and pulled a little gap on them. But judges deemed it one more time, and in that I was having some issues with my PCV system. Hopefully I got those issues fixed now. You guys saw the video of me playing with that stuff last night. So had some more issues with it. Ended up, I think, starting to leak out of the crankshaft, get over the clutch, all that fun business. But basically, like, my car was smoking really bad right after our second run. After I followed him, I pulled off the track. They deemed it one more time. We both came back. Zierr came back to work on his car. I came back to work on my car, and we're both like a pit across from each other. So we're like watching each other, like seeing who's going to be the first one back out after the one more time. Like he's looking at me, trying to see where I'm at. I'm looking at him, and he was like, you know, hey man, I'll give you, you know, I can go out and give you some extra time, or I'll wait to go out and give you some extra time if you need. And I was like, cool, I can do the same. So like I finally got done, had some help with some buddies, I looked at him, I gave him a thumbs up. He looked at me, gave me a thumbs up. I drive out there and wait like 5 minutes. He doesn't come out. And I hear over the loudspeaker that Alex Zier's called a 5-minute timeout. And I'm like, oh no, like he gave me a thumbs up. If somebody gives you a thumbs up and it's like, I'm good, and then they call a 5-minute, you're like, something bad probably happened. So.
Yeah, so I was actually there because there was actually a dog running around his car and he was about to back up. And he was just kind of sitting there waiting for us to corral this loose dog. And we get the dog and he starts to back up. And he's starting to turn his wheel, and he's just has this like concerned look on his face, and he's like, dude, no, there's something wrong. And he's like, I think my power steering's out or something. So I'm not sure what happened after that. But
yeah, I think it was. I heard it was like a burnt wire with power steering wiring, and it's an electric power steering car. So if it doesn't have, if something happens to the wiring on that, he doesn't have power steering. So. Yeah, he basically did not make it out in 5 minutes, and I ran a by run. Yeah, which is sad. You never want to win that way. You always want to win, you know, driving better than the other person, not because they broke. I thought I was going to be the one that was broken because my oil was leaking everywhere, but it turned out to be, you know, he was actually the one that had an issue. So, all in all, good day. I did make it to top 32, where I battle Jonathan Hurst tomorrow. Good times with him in the past. Hopefully put on a show for everybody tomorrow. Unfortunately, Lauren is knocked out, but she'll be selling some t-shirts to everybody and hopefully enjoying the event.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, see what happens tomorrow. Peace. Top 32 practice. It was a nice sunny day, pretty hot. But I was starting to feel really comfortable with the car, pretty much had all the issues taken care of, and I was just doing a bunch of different tire pressure changes, trying different things on the track, and really just getting to know the accelerators, because this was the first time I'd gotten like any actual practice laps on these tires. So I was playing with tire pressures, thinking about like what pressure I wanted to follow Hurst with, because he would be my first battle going into top 32. So I basically just kept doing runs and like lowering the pressure, raising the pressures, trying to see like, okay, what's the lowest pressure I can stay in the zones, and then that would be the pressure that I would chase at. So I just kept going down on pressure, and then this next run that you see here, I also just tried to do the whole track in third instead of downshifting at a pretty low pressure. You can tell the car is bogging pretty hard, but it was just cool to get to try these different things. So in the drivers meeting for top 32, Jeff Jones had said some really good advice, and I kind of took it to heart. Basically, he said that nothing good ever comes out of jumping the line as the chase driver, and he said what you should do instead is to start behind the lead driver and like take off before them and like roll together rather than just jumping the start and waiting for them to come to you. So while I was warming up my tires, I was really thinking about this, and I was trying to plan out like at what lights on the tree I would start rolling. I decided to go when all 3 lights were lit before they extinguished, and I think it worked out pretty good. Check it out. I mean, I still got gap ties, but it definitely helped on the start. I had top 32 today. Went against Jonathan Hurst, who also Lauren went against.
Yep.
I've battled him way back in LS Fest. Had some good battles with him in the past, so I was pretty excited for it. I call him a good drift friend because we've known each other for a while. Had similar cars when I had my RX-7, and he had his also turbo LS Z 350Z. So we would always kind of share stories and hang out and talk about that stuff at LS Fests and other events. So it's really cool to see how far he's come, and driving in Pro 1. And honestly, just to say, I drove with a Pro 1 driver, so top 32, went against him. I was plotting. I was trying to figure out, what can I do to keep up with this car and keep up with Hurst, and played around with the tire pressures. I think I got the best that I could get with my car. Went out there, gave it my all, and I lost, but I was happy with it. My car worked. Lauren did an awesome job painting my car. We got so many compliments on it this weekend. A lot of people just really excited to see the Lincoln drifting, which is cool to me because I have a lot of heart and soul into the car. So it means a lot to me to see other people get excited about it. When you have a day like that, when you have a weekend like that, no matter what the outcome, you can't be sad about it. So honestly, even after the loss in the battle, I came away smiling because I had a good time. I gave it my all. The car worked, and it was a good weekend. Hopefully you guys like this video. Lauren's watching her run. What's your face?
Look at my face. Why?
Look at this run. It was a sick run.
Yeah, I felt very composed.
Yeah,
like everything, I was just trying to make sure I put on the best lead run I could.
Hopefully you guys like this video. We'll see what the future holds, and feel free to like and subscribe, and we'll see y'all later.
Bye.